Hey everyone, Christian here from CK Wraps. So today I'm going to show you how to do an inlay using a template. We're going to create a template using masking tape or painter's tape, whatever you prefer, in this recess of this Mitsubishi Eclipse. Now this car has already been here. The bumper was orange, it's now been painted black. There was a huge patch of bodywork here that we didn't know when we unwrapped the bumper because it was wrapped in Avery Satin Pearl Nero. So when we removed the wrap, there was this huge patch here where the vinyl wasn't really sticking, and we went to go wrap it and it wasn't sticking at all. So my customer picked up his car, took the bumper, and had it repainted. There are a lot of imperfections actually. He didn't pay very much for the paint job. Unfortunately, there's a bunch of dirt in here and it's underneath the paint. So this edge is only going to look so clean, unfortunately. But the wrap won't lift, so that's the main thing. The wrap's going to look very bang on and precise. So to do an inlay and to do a template in here, we're going to use painter's tape or masking tape. Super easy thing to do. So, and the reason why we do this is because, so let's just say this area was a hole and we didn't have this backing plate here. We could literally take excess film and put it all the way through and then run it in here really easily. But because we have this back on here, if we try to take a piece and we push it in here, it's going to want to curve outwards and come out this way. Eventually, if we start up here, it's going to start to come out this way. And if we try to keep pushing it in, we're going to get a lot of excess film bunched up here, bunched up here, bunched up here. It's just going to be a huge pain. So what we do in a situation like this is we mask it off, and we're going to create this shape. We're going to recreate this shape so that we can cut out this shape on a piece of vinyl. So the color that we're using here is Vivid Luster Black Chrome. So we'll do this in multiple pieces. We want to make sure we have full coverage. Now we don't really have to worry about how much we have on the exterior. It's getting this line right here, which is the main one. This is going to be the more important one. So what this is going to do is going to really help with how easy this will be to do. So bear with me while I lay this. Let's just take a few minutes. I'll try to work as quickly as possible here for you so you don't have to stand around or sit there at the computer waiting forever. Once we get this in here, we're going to remove it. We're going to remove it very carefully. So this is a template we're creating a template for an inlay. We kind of want to get up there. We want to get really tight to the edge. We're going to start at one end and lift it off from one end to the other. So we would not start at this end because we'll start at this end because everything is overlapping that end. So we work from one end to the next. So like I said, it doesn't really matter how much we have on the outside. If you can have excess, that's not a problem. I'm going to put one more piece here. Okay. So now we've created our template. What we need to do is remove this very carefully. So we want to maintain the shape that this is. So this is a trick. This is something that's going to make your life easier when it goes to doing inlays. It only really takes a few minutes to avoid a lot of headache. And especially since we're doing this in chrome, we have to make sure that we're doing this properly and a really nice and clean and durable way without ruining the film. Get rid of that. All right, so we're getting along here. Try not to stretch the tape, it shouldn't stretch, but we just want to maintain. So this is the shape of our inlay. When we lay this down on the film, which is over here, we're going to cut this shape right out of this. Got stuck here a little prematurely. Actually, I'm going to see how close I am. Actually, I'm good. Okay. Try to maintain the shape that we took it off. So mainly, it's this inner piece that we have to cut out really nicely, okay? The rest that's on the exterior, no big deal. We can cut and trim that off afterwards. So what I want to do, and when we take this piece now, this is going to fit right into that shape really easily. So I'm going to trim along. I'm going a little bit excess, just a little bit. We want to make sure that we have enough and not too little, if anything. But now we don't have so much excess material. Okay, so that piece is done and ready to go. We'll get rid of the excess there. All right, we can remove the tape and we'll go back over to the rear end of the car. Now what we're going to do is we're going to lay some knifeless first. And I'm only going to lay knifeless in one area. I'm going to lay it on the exterior, not the interior. Reason being is that I know that I can score this film without cutting into the paint or cutting through this vinyl right here and then cutting into the paint. But you can do some knifeless tape on the inside here as well if you're a bit concerned about cutting into your paint or cutting through this layer of vinyl. So, always helps to have a wrap glove when applying this. All right. So we're gonna run this a little bit higher. I have the corner already pinched at the top. I'm gonna run this right on the body line in this recess, okay? So we don't want to stretch the tape into there. We're going to be very cautious on how we lay this. Try not to reposition it. So there's quite a few imperfections in the paint. I can see one right here, right under my thumb. That's okay. It's not our fault. Come up again here. Keeping it a little bit more on the inside if anything. And then we'll run it off at the top. Trim off what's left. We can pinch that corner down if we want to, just to give us a bit to grab onto. Pinch off this so that we have something to grab onto later on. We'll get rid of that. All right. Now the fun part. So what I want to do is just go over it again in case I've added in any debris. A little bit of isopropyl alcohol. We shouldn't really need any heat. I'm going to do here actually is just run it in a little bit more, because I know that it comes up a little bit higher. And right about there. All right. Same deal over here, just in case. All right. Get that out of the way. All right. So let's take our inlay. So this, we know this inlay fits in here just kind of like so. We just got to figure out where the center is. And that's going to be the more difficult part. But we can kind of just place it there and hold it and see where we're at. So if we come a little bit enough this way, I'm just going to fold it in there a bit. Okay, we're looking good. So somewhere right around here. So we'll start by removing some of the backing. This may need to be repositioned. We'll find out in a moment. I want to make sure that I'm overlapping that inside piece. So positioning it is going to be the more difficult part. So I'm off slightly. I'm going to take my wrap glove off because it's kind of inhibiting me right now. So let's see where we're at right now. Okay, so this side is pretty bang on. And we'll squeegee all those wrinkles out of there. We're on the edge right over here where the knifeless tape is. So you can see that I have bunching of material in here a bit. Now imagine if we had too much film. If we had too much film in this area over here, we'd have a crazy amount of bunching. Now we don't, so it makes life a lot easier. Okay, so I know that I'm lower. I'm in far enough here. Just getting a bit too much bunching. That's maybe because I didn't cut as accurately as I should have. But we can work that out. Okay. And it worked out. So we're gonna squeegee that in there with our fingers. Over here, I know that I'm above. I can see the line, the seam of the inlay that we already put in there. Now I didn't do a video on the back inlay because it's very straightforward. It's very flat. You just got to get a piece of flat material and squeegee it in there. Okay. Perfect. I'll go over this side a little bit, making sure that we're good. There's a little indent here on the bumper. I can see it now. So we're going to trim away the excess that's on the inside here. I'm just pushing very lightly with a very sharp blade. So this is super common to do it this way because we can't actually stretch the bumper into this recess. This is too deep of a recess. The film will pop out. I'm sorry if the lighting here isn't the greatest. So here's the imperfections. There was a whole bunch of debris under the paint. Okay. I laid this side so evenly that I don't even need to trim it away, so I just had to trim away up until that corner. Perfect. So we have a nice clean line on the inside here, other than the corners here where we can see that just stuff got underneath. It's not underneath the wrap, it's underneath the paint. I took pictures before. But I know that's there, and that's not my fault. All right, so let's use a little bit of heat and then get the knifeless tape flowing here. So I'm gonna grab the heat gun. All right. So you may ask what we're doing for the top piece. So what I'm going to do with the top piece is fold that over from the bumper piece, and that'll overlap. That way I don't have to put another seam in the top. So I'm just going to go over this with some heat, making sure it's nice and tight over the knifeless tape. This car is actually a friend of mine, and he told me that he went with a very inexpensive paint job just to kind of get it done. It's now been a couple of weeks, so he wanted to get the car done. All right, cutting knifeless tape again. So we're over top of the knifeless tape everywhere. We're going to take it, bring it right to the edge of the film, and break the string. So if that happens, we have another side to work on. Hopefully if it doesn't happen again. Otherwise, I'm going to show you what to do. So actually, I'm going to remove my glove because I think it's sticking to my glove a little bit too much. There we go. So we're going to cut right through this. There's no fraying of the film, so it comes out really clean looking. So we know that's all the way cut through. So I have a little excess up here which I'm going to trim off. We're going to go over that edge again with our finger, making sure everything's put down. I'm going to trim off some of this up here because it's not as straight as I'd like it to be. All right. Now there's a little corner over here. Perfect. All right, so there we have an inlay, and we created that inlay using a template, so that comes out super clean, a lot easier to do. If I wasn't using a template, it would be much more difficult, take a lot more time. So just a few minutes that you spend to create that template makes a huge difference. So take the time to do that. I've shown you how to do that. You can use this example on front bumpers, rear bumpers, wherever you think you might need to do something like that. Front bumpers, typically it's not that much of a concern because we remove the grills and stuff like that, where we can actually pull the vinyl through to the other side and put a huge piece in there and then do a nice inlay that way. When you can't, this is how you do it. I've seen, for example, on like Nissan GTR, the tail lights, you can do them in there. Other examples like that pretty much. So just to show you guys how you do it. That's doing an inlay using a template, and there are other ways to do it as well. That's just one of the ways. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for following. For those who want to learn more about how to wrap a car and little tips and techniques just like that, please subscribe. Anyways, thanks everyone. Take care. No, don't forget to follow us on Instagram. It's at CK Wraps. Take care.